Well, plant-based is just anything that's animal-free, plant-based. Well, so there's so many different things because we could say, okay, so vegan can include anything animal-free, but that can include all the junk food, the vegan Oreos, the vegan Nutter Butters, all
Mm-hmm.
that. Then there's plant-based, which is more clean foods that are, from the ground, cooked and raw. So beans and rice and potatoes and nuts and seeds and smoothies and salads. And then you have raw, which is just uncooked foods. So fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that are uncooked. Um,
Oh.
so yeah. So when I say I eat my diet overall is high raw, but when I need to heal, I go raw or close to raw as possible. So no cooked foods, none of the beans and the rice and the potatoes that I might eat. No oatmeal, just fresh fruits, smoothies, salads, nice cream, and nice cream is just another way of saying a smoothie, but without the liquid. So it's more creamy, like ice cream,
Oh.
but it's just made with fruit. Yeah. So
Oh.
that would be the difference. It's like there's eating vegan, there's eating plant-based, there's eating raw, but all these titles and definitions, it's just like, ah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus, where we talk about real life, real healing, real growth, especially for women 50 and over who are ready to step into their next chapter with intention. My name is Angela. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. So, what if real revolution in midlife isn't in what you're doing, but in what you're feeding your body, your spirit, your future? In a culture that tells us comfort comes in convenience, today's conversation asks us to look deeper. My guest, Nicole R'Shae, invites us into the everyday practice of choosing nourishment over numbness, presence over pattern, and healing over habit. This isn't just about going plant-based, it's about listening to your body, rewriting your definition of pleasure, and reclaiming aging as a sacred act of self-honoring. But before we get started, I have one huge favor to ask. If you find any value or enjoy the content, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this with a woman who might benefit from this conversation. Okay, let's get this conversation started. Hey, R'Shae, how you doing?
Hi,
How
how
you
are
doing?
you?
I'm good. I'm sorry, Nicole. I was calling you by. So, Nicole R'Shae. It's the whole, okay.
Yes.
How you doing, love?
My
Thank
name
you
is
for.
Nicole R'Shae Holiday, but like most of my like my YouTube and my plant-based YouTube, I'm sorry, plant-based IG is just Nicole R'Shae.
Okay, okay. And I would definitely have all your information in the description. So please tell us a little bit about you, your journey, and why you decided plant-based living.
So almost 15 years ago, is when I went plant-based, and I was like, it was a desperate cry for help at the time. Some people turn this way because they're desperate for healing. I was one of those. So at the time, I was in grad school, and I was an injury I had from early 2000s flared up really badly, and I was just in chronic pain, discomfort, just I would just the pain was like from my hands, wrists. It can go up to my neck, shoulders, and then it would go
Oh,
on my face. But the face didn't feel like a pain, but more of like it was going to go numb sensation. It didn't all happen at once. Maybe once, sometimes maybe it was just the left side. Maybe sometimes it was just the right. Maybe sometimes it was just the neck and the face. But the point is, I was in pain. I was desperate, and I was depressed. No, excuse me. I was depressed because of the pain, and then I was desperate for healing. So one day I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine after our class because I was in grad school at the time, and we were just talking about how eliminating animal products can possibly allow your body to heal. I said, say less. And the next day I was plant based, and I did not transition or take my time or
wow.
anything because I was really desperate. I was in pain. I was tired of crying all the time because I was so uncomfortable. I was tired of being depressed because I was in so much pain. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you're desperate, you will do what it takes. So I did not take my time getting into it. So the next day, animal free, just like that. So that was
Wow.
why I went plant-based almost 15 years ago. Now, after a month, I was feeling so much better. I was like, maybe I'll go back now to my regular diet. But I was like, nah, I feel good. I'm gonna stay like this. I'm gonna stay eating this way. I just feel so much better. So I stay with it. Almost 15 years later, I'm still on the same way of living.
So I have to ask this. There weren't any cravings. I mean, I understand you were in pain, so maybe, when you're in that much pain, maybe the craving overrode the pain, overrode the pain or vice versa. But was there a time where you felt like I need to go back? I have these cravings because I'm just saying, speaking from my own experience, I've tried. And of course, it was more just because I wanted to go into the plant-based lifestyle, but it was hard and the cravings were more powerful than, my willingness to go plant-based. So there wasn't any cravings.
Um, when I first started, I wasn't thinking about nobody's cravings.
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking about I need to heal. So my mind was
Okay.
different at the time. It was just focused on healing. So if this is what I got
Okay.
to do to heal, I don't know if I don't remember having cravings. I feel like my
Wow.
mind was so determined and focused
Mhm.
on this way that I don't think cravings came in my mind. Now, once I healed, maybe it's been so long, I don't remember, but I feel like I still get cravings to this day. So I don't think that like it's ever gonna go away. I don't know. Everybody always says, I don't get cravings. I don't ever. I'm like, whatever. Nah. I'm like, there's times where I'm like, I mean, I've been without meat for almost 15 years. I'll be looking at my husband eating some regular pizza, and I'm like, man, I miss cheese, and I get a taste for that taste, and I'm like, dang, I want that. I miss that, but I'm not gonna do it because it's been so long. I don't know if I would get sick from eating cheese, but I know I would get sick from eating meat. But it's been so long. I don't want to reverse my way of eating, but it, I think I've always not, it's not consistent cravings, but there's times where I might have cravings. And I don't know. I just push past it because like if it's something craving some type of animal products, I'm definitely not going to give into that.
Okay.
If it's craving some junk food, I'm gonna give into that because why? Because I can, and I'm all about balance. But sorry, I don't want to be jumping around. But in the
Yeah.
beginning, after the healing, um, if I did have cravings, it's just such a long. It's so long ago that I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I did. But I was so excited about my new way of eating
Yeah.
that I wasn't gonna go back to any animal products. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How long did
Because
it
it was just
take you?
like
Go ahead. Now I was going to say, how long did it take you to heal once you started your plant base?
I would say I was a month later, I was feeling so much better.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
to be honest, to this day, if I'm doing something where I'm doing a lot of repetition, just too much, uh, when it comes to a keyboard and a mouse, I can have a flare up again.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's best for me to stay away from that. Um, and if I do have a flare up, I eat plant based now and I've been eating it so long, just eating plant based doesn't prevent it. I would have to go to the next step and eat raw. But I haven't had a flare up in a long time. But it took a month until I was feeling better. And then at that time, back then, I was in grad school, I had to go about getting a Dragon software put in my computer for school, for work.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that is a software that helps you dictate
Right.
instead of doing this all day, typing all day, clicking
Yeah.
the mouse all day.
Right.
That's what jacked me up. So I was like, I don't want to ever go back to that again. So I had that on my personal computer in any job I've had in the last several years. And people in the beginning, they would be like, that's weird. You're talking. But then they would get used to it, my coworkers and stuff,
Yeah.
because I would just be talking, dictating notes, dictating emails. When I'm texting, I still do it to this day just to, keep from doing too much texting and things like that when I'm
Yeah.
doing my social media content. dictating, so sorry, I just went it took a month.
Okay. No, okay, okay. So, as a woman in midlife, what changes have you personally noticed in your energy, your focus, and your physical health since you've gone plant-based?
um so my energy when I went plant-based 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, it wasn't that much of a difference because I was blessed to be born with I've always had great energy. So I think I was at the top max for energy already. No, I might have had a little bit more once I went plant-based, but I've always been a very energetic, just outgoing person. So that didn't change big time just because I was already almost at the max for that. But it did physical health, definitely. The healing of what I went plant-based for, definitely.
Uh,
I just felt better in my body. I didn't feel heavy. I didn't feel weighed down. I didn't feel like I needed to take a nap after I eat. You know what I mean? I just felt light. I felt clear. My mental, like say, mental clarity. It was just very clear. I just felt good at the time going plant-based, and that's why I stuck with it because
yeah,
I could have went back to the meat after my body healed, but I felt so good and I was like, wow, I feel like I want to skip after a meal. You know what I mean? Like I just
right.
felt light and I just felt good in my body. So that's how it affected me. Yeah,
Do you think if you would have went back to meat or animal product that it would have flared up again?
probably. Yeah,
Probably. Okay. Okay. So
possibly.
that was also very good incentive to for, staying, with the plant-based diet.
Yeah.
So were there any
Because,
unexpected changes, like positive or negative, that caught you by surprise when going plant-based? Anything?
um, let's see. I'm looking at your questions too, because I'm a visual person. But
Oh, no worries.
well, back then, besides the healing, I only lost a little bit of weight back then because I didn't really have that much to lose at the time.
Okay.
So I only lost like 5, 6 pounds back then because I was already. Um, Now over the years I had gained it in my plant-based journey and, recently lost some, but I had
Oh.
lost a little bit of weight. I felt good. I do want to kind of fast forward to now, because, well, let me, feeling good, just a little tiny bit more energy.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, the healing, my skin was, people would say, your skin is glowing, that people would say that after I went plant-based. So yeah, those were the changes. Now, fast forward 15 years later, um, so my body is used to eating plant-based. Okay, so it does not prevent certain things anymore, especially I am now in menopause full blown as of September
Oh.
2024.
Okay.
A lot of things have changed in my body since I went in menopause. It is not just night sweats and hot flashes, y'all. I'm learning so much more about menopause and how it affects, to the point of it could be causing headaches. It could be, which I did, 2023 to 2024 for one full year. I
Mm,
had headaches and I had to go raw to heal them. But
yeah.
um, I wanted to give an example of the digestion, how right now plant-based is not enough to, uh, what was I going to say? Digestion. I just had an experience because I did a challenge for 7 days. I did a low natural sugar challenge. And because I was doing lower sugar, I was eating more fat and more sodium. And I was eating a lot more soy because of the tofu keeping me satiated longer.
Okay.
It jacked me up, my digestion.
Oh.
Yes, because I'm sorry, but not to be gross, but I had deadly gas, the kind where I feel like my husband might leave me, or I might need to go stay in the hotel for a few weeks. Also, it caused me to be a little constipated. And I think that it's because of the menopause, my
Oh.
digestion is so sensitive now. So because of the change in my diet, it kind of, but anyway, what was my point? Now I'm just eating more raw right now to try to get back to my normal high raw diet to get back. But plant-based doesn't really prevent certain things anymore. Sometimes I have to take it up a notch to eat more raw, high raw, so that it can allow my body to heal itself. I feel like wherever you're at, you got to take it up a notch. Just like when I was eating the meat, I went up to plant-based. It healed me back then. Right now, my body's so used to eating this way. If I need to heal something, I need to go up. And right now I'm trying to heal my digestion and my bowels because I messed it up. So I'm just right now focusing on just going back to my normal high raw because that 7-day challenge messed me up a little bit.
So, and I know this is not one of the questions, but what's the difference between, I kind of know, but I want to get a better explanation between the plant-based and raw. I mean, yes, I understand what raw means, but can you give me a better definition of plant-based versus raw?
Yeah. Well, plant-based is just anything that's animal-free, plant-based. Well, so there's so many different things because we could say, okay, so vegan could include anything animal-free, but that can include all the junk food, the vegan Oreos, the vegan Nutter Butters, all
Mm-hmm.
that. Then there's plant-based, which is more clean foods that are, from the ground, cooked and raw. So beans and rice and potatoes and nuts and seeds and smoothies and salads. And then you have raw, which is just uncooked foods. So fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that are uncooked.
Oh,
So yeah. So when I say I eat my diet overall is high raw, but when I need to heal, I go raw or close to raw as possible. So no cooked foods, none of the beans and the rice and the potatoes that I might eat. No oatmeal, just fresh fruits, smoothies, salads, nice cream. And nice cream is just another way of saying a smoothie, but without the liquid. So it's more creamy, like ice cream, but it's just made with fruit. Yeah. So
oh,
that would be the difference. Like there's eating vegan, there's eating plant-based, there's eating raw, but all these titles and definitions, it's just like,
it does make it, yeah, it does make it confusing for a lot of us who are like, okay, so what's the difference? And then trying to look up the definition, it's still sometimes to me kind of unclear. So thank you for, that
yeah,
clarification.
you're welcome. Do you mind
Uh,
if I turn on my fan? My little fan?
oh, no, go right ahead. I understand.
It's so hot in here. It's
I,
not a hot flash. It's not a hot flash. It's just
okay.
hot.
It's,
Like I can tell the difference. And
yeah.
actually, speaking of hot flashes, I did have them in perimenopause a lot. And then I increased the raw. It got
Okay.
better.
And it
So I
got
don't really
better.
get hot flashes anymore. But
Okay.
unless I drink coffee. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
my favorite drink of the day. So, well, matter of fact, I'll ask that question at the end. I'll ask that question at the end.
hmm
So, how do you keep your meal satisfying and nutrient rich without falling into the trap of eating the same things over and over again?
So that's the thing about me. I do fall into the trap because I'm okay with it. I like my food and I do eat the same things over and over. That's just how I get down. I'm very plain, I'm very basic. I eat a high raw diet, and for me, my definition of high raw is I eat a lot of raw, but I also eat some cooked, and then I have about 15 to 20% junk food. I eat the same things. I eat my yogurt, almost my plant-based yogurt almost every morning for 5 years, except for if I'm doing a raw cleanse or if I run out. I literally have the same breakfast almost every day. It has chia seeds and blueberries in it, a little bit of stevia, and I might have 2 tangerines or some strawberries with it. And then lunch and dinners are either going to be a salad or a smoothie, depending on if I'm at work or at home,
Uh,
which is more convenient. Or I might do nice cream, or I might do beans and rice and a vegetable, or stir fried vegetables and rice, cabbage and rice, things like
okay.
that. That's the same kind of stuff I eat all the time. I just might change when I eat it, or the snacks are gonna, almond butter and apples, rice cakes and almond butter, or just fruit itself, or just nuts itself. I just eat pretty much the same things. If I get tired of eating clean so much, I might eat a little bit of junk food, you know what I mean? And then I'll feel gross and I'll be like, and then I'll go back to my clean eating, So Or I might change things up in the sense of maybe I have a smoothie, say like I eat a smoothie every night, for instance, but maybe the base is always going to be bananas. But maybe this time it was a blueberry smoothie with bananas, but maybe the next day I might do strawberries with the bananas. Or, if I do
Yeah.
a salad, which I eat salads almost every day, I change up the dressing. One day I might do my tahini, the savory tahini dressing. One day I might do the sweet tahini. One day I might do my balsamic vinegar and olive oil dressing. So, but I do eat the same things, but I like my food, so I'm okay with it. And then there's times where I'm going out and I might treat myself to some vegan nachos or a vegan burger. Now, that kind of stuff is very seldom. I don't eat like that all the time, but I do believe in balance. And I'm not super like, oh, I got to be 100% clean, 100% perfect all the time. I like junk food. I do. I feel gross after I eat it. And I'm always like, why did I do that? But I sure enjoy the taste. And I believe that I give myself a little, like 15 to 20% of my diet is junk foods and processed. 85 to 90 is clean, whole foods, foods that are born the way they are,
Right.
no ingredients. You pick up a potato, there's nothing on that ingredient list except for a potato. There's no list.
Right.
There is no list. Apples and kale. And so I believe in eating a whole foods diet, 85 to 90%, and then the rest, a little junk food here and there won't hurt you.
I
But yeah,
agree.
I eat the same kind of things all the time,
Okay.
pretty much.
Okay. So you said you eat the almond butter. Why don't you eat peanut butter?
Oh, I do sometimes. I
Oh,
do. I
okay.
do.
Okay.
I
I
just
thought
didn't
maybe
feel like
those are
saying both. No, I do. Well, sometimes I like the almond butter because that one I believe doesn't have any sodium. The peanut butter we get Skippy Natural,
mm,
and that one it tastes better, but
oh,
it has sodium, and
mm.
but I kind of switch up, but I try to lean more towards the almond butter if I can.
Oh, okay. Now, do you
Yeah.
plan your meals in advance or you just, well, yeah, I guess you don't. If you're eating the same thing, you probably don't need to really plan because you already know what you're going to be eating through the day. So I guess for people who like, a little more variety, because I'm the same way. I can eat the same thing all the time, you know,
Yeah.
day after day. But I know there's some people who like, I need to, plan my meals out, so I'll stick to that, which, that's great too for folks who like a little more variety.
And when I say I eat the same things, oh, that's the thing. It's like it's the same foods, but I might eat it in a different way. So
Yeah,
each week when I go grocery shopping, I'm like, okay, my breakfast is always the given. It's always that plant-based yogurt. But
yeah.
the lunch and dinner, I might change it up in the way I eat it, but
It's the same
like this week,
ingredients basically.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like this week, I'm like, okay, I got these salad bags from Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. I'm gonna be having that for lunch this week, and then the dinner is gonna be either nice cream or, um, beans and rice and a vegetable. So, and then maybe next week it might be the beans and rice for the lunch, but then so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. But I kind of play in my mind what I'm gonna eat, and then I go grocery shopping according to that, and then I make my lunch every night for work for the next day. Um, a full day of eating breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, because that's just how I don't do it because society says. I do it because I be hungry. Some people are like, oh, people tell you to eat 3 meals a day. You don't have to do that. I'm like, I do because I'm hungry. I don't do that because of anybody else but my hunger hormones and yeah. But yeah,
Now, did you find, and I know you said you haven't been eating meat in 15 years, so maybe this might be hard to remember, but did you find, other than, being sleepier after eating a heavy, meat meal or animal product meal, do you find that you are hungrier more now than you were when you were eating meat, if you can remember way back then?
nope. Always been the same. I've
Okay.
always tired
Okay.
eating every 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
just your natural metabolism.
I've
Okay.
always been like
Okay.
that. I think sometimes when I'm out and about, for some reason, like if I go out to my husband's gig at night or a play or something, when I'm out late, I
Uh,
get hungry again because normally if I'm at home, I would be going to bed around 11. But if I'm out late, then I get hungry again,
Okay.
so I require eating more. But other than that, and that's sometimes I feel like that's my menopause hunger hormone. I don't know. But because if I was at home, I would, be going to sleep. So I wouldn't have a chance to get hungry again. But yeah, I've always been a person, everybody knows me. If you know me really well, it knows me for my snacks. I'm always having snacks with
Oh,
me. And sometimes,
okay.
like I went to a play last night, and sometimes, like, I brought tangerines because I ate dinner on my way there, but
Uh,
because we're gonna be out later than normal, I was like, I might get hungry again. So I brought some tangerines, enough to make a meal if I needed to.
okay. So, what myths do you think people still believe about plant-based eating, especially for women in midlife who are managing perimenopause or menopause? So, what are some of the myths you believe? I mean, you think people still have?
Um, it's and not even just midlife, but just in general about this diet, that we don't get enough protein. That's
Right.
the biggest one.
Yeah.
Don't get enough nutrition. That's another one.
Okay.
Um, now I've made countless videos about protein. First of all, I don't believe we need 150 grams of protein like a lot of people sell. I think that's too much for your body, too much for your kidneys, but to each his own. If you want to eat that much, do you, boo? But that's for me in my house, in my body. Nah,
Right.
for me, what works is like somewhere between 50 and 70. And I think that according to like certain apps, like the nutrition apps, it'll say like a woman only needs about 46 grams a day.
Mm,
So
okay.
I actually try to aim between 50 and 70, though. That's a good balance for me. And I show people in certain videos how I get that much protein. And um, because people are just, and I still hear this. Sometimes I'll go live and people make their little comments. You don't get enough protein, you need meat. And I'm like, I'm almost 15 years later. I've never been protein deficient. I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need to eat. I don't need to eat meat to have the protein I need. I just don't. And then
Yeah.
also the nutrient. People say you don't get enough nutrition, and it's all about what you put in your mouth or don't. Like there's some people who might be, what do you call it, malnourished on the vegan diet because of their choices. I see
Okay.
some people look just sickly. I'm like,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with the diet. That has to do with what you choose to eat or
What
not.
you're choosing.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, granted, there are some things that we don't get on it. Like, for instance, B12. Um,
Yeah.
if you put all your food in a day, and Chronometer is just like a little app. You'll see the B12 is empty most unless and
Mm,
so you do have to supplement for that. Or for me, I like to use nutritional yeast in my salad dressings. I get the full amount I need in a day
yeah.
just from nutritional yeast, and that is not a supplement. That's food.
Hmm.
That is something. Or uh, selenium is something we need for, I believe, the thyroid. That's something I eat a Brazil nut and I get the full amount I need in a day instead of taking the supplement, and then vitamin D. Yes, you might get some from mushrooms. Yes, you might get some from almond milk, but it's not enough for your full day. So that's something I do have to supplement for because I'm
Okay.
not in the sun all day, every day. And even if I am in the sun, unless you're butt naked, sorry, your clothes are all the way off, you're still not going to get enough the sun you need. Like people say, oh, just get outside. No, your clothes need to be all the way off for you to be getting what you need from
Yeah.
from the sun. At
Okay.
least that's what I learned. But anyway, so vitamin D, I definitely have to supplement because even in my food, it's not enough. But other than that, like I get enough food from my what am I trying to say? My diet.
Yeah.
Oh, another one, iodine.
Yeah.
I eat seaweed. And I get that. There's
Yeah.
these gimme nori sheets I get from Whole Foods Market.
Mm,
And just like 4 sheets, 3 to 4 sheets a day can give you amount of iodine you need. And that's definitely good for your thyroid. Instead
right.
of taking iodine supplement, just eat you some seaweed. I think also some dulse or sea vegetables are
Okay.
another way. So there are certain vitamins that we don't get just naturally unless you seek out ways to get it, like the
Right.
nutritional yeast, the Brazil nut, and da da da. But yeah, so those are some of the myths that I keep hearing, and I'm just like, oh,
But we also have to remember that even if you're on a um, um, animal based diet, you still there's supplements that you still need because you might not be getting all the other if you're eating mostly animal products and you're not eating enough vegetables or like you said seeds or fruits or whatever berries, then you might be missing out on some vitamins and nutrients that you need that you might have to supplement. So it's just, I mean, it's the same if you're on a plant-based diet. So yeah, that makes
yeah.
a lot of
And speak
sense.
and speaking of that, that's an example. Yeah, you could be deficient on any diet. Now, when I
Right.
used to eat meat, I was anemic for years
Wow.
while I ate
Wow.
meat. I have never been anemic in my plant-based journey.
Yeah,
So who's not getting enough nutrition? No, I'm just playing. It can happen either way. It can happen on any
exactly.
diet, whether you eat meat, whether you don't. It's about what you choose to eat or don't eat.
Right.
That's it.
And the
So,
quality of the food as well, because a lot of
mhm,
our animal products are because the way they're raised aren't don't their meat, their flesh itself don't have all of the nutrients that they should have because their source of food is lacking. So of course, then when you put it on your plate, then what you're eating is also going to be lacking. So we have to
right,
look at that too. What kind of meat sources are we eating? Are we getting the traditional, cattle raised or beef raised food, or maybe are you trying to get grass fed? And I mean, that's hard to find and it can be a little more expensive, but again, it is also what you are, what type of meat you are choosing. Are you getting fish that are farm raised? Or are you trying to buy fish, maybe sockeyed salmon? So, yeah, in that case as well, it depends on what kind of food you're putting on your plate, how they were raised, and what kind of
right.
nutrients they have in their flesh. So, yeah, that does make a big difference as well. So, have you noticed a difference? We already talked about your joint pain, but your sleep quality or even inflammation since shifting to the plant-based living?
In the beginning, definitely because I went to like a anti-inflammatory diet, so any pains or things like that. I never really had issues with sleep, so that's always been okay.
Right.
Um, but like the pain, of course, we talked about that getting better. Inflammation is what causes those pains. So the inflammation, any inflammation I had got better because of the diet, because I'm eating a lot of anti-inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
However, again, fast forward to now, certain things might not prevent certain things. Like I ended up getting a bulging disc in my back. As of, I don't know when it happened. I just know that I had chronic pain since last September or so until a couple months ago. I got an MRI, found out I had a bulging disc. I was like, what
Mm,
the heck? I never had no back problems before. Found out that because of the menopause, the hormones are depleting. So you're just prone to things. You're just
yeah.
prone to things and you're just more sensitive. So somehow I got a bulging disc. Now I went on because I already eat anti-inflammatory. I had to boost it up a little bit, and I found like a smoothie that is an anti-inflammatory smoothie that I was drinking every day. Then I had to do physical therapy, and I got better. Now the inflammation. Remember I told you that 7-day challenge I just did?
Right.
This is how you know foods are powerful. So I got better. I even recorded my physical therapist saying, thanking him, I'm better. I don't need to see you no more. I'm all better, right? And then I did that 7-day challenge in just 7 days of eating low. Sorry, because it wasn't because I was eating low natural sugar. It was because I wasn't eating as much fruit as I would usually do. I was eating more fat. And when I say more fat, I'm talking about 80, 90 grams of fat when I normally just eat maybe 50 to 65. So it went from 50 to 65 to 80 to 90. because I'm eating different things to keep me satiated since I'm not eating the fruit, right?
Mm.
So that high fat was causing inflammation, and it made I was
Oh,
better, no more pain. But then after that challenge, the it irritated it, and like started my back started hurting again. So that just it's
oh,
just interesting how the extremely high fat, and then I was also in sodium increase, that
mm,
can cause inflammation, and that so again I'm back to normal now, so I'm starting to feel better already. But it just goes to show that a plant-based diet that's not extremely high in fat and just normal is very anti-inflammatory if you're eating the right things. And I'm feeling better already. And that experiment, I'll never do that again, by the way. Unless I find a different way to not eat so much fat and so much soy, and because I have an appetite, as I mentioned.
yeah,
So not everybody needs as much food as me. 3 meals and 2 snacks. And that's only during the week when I'm teaching. On the weekends, I could just do one snack and I'll be good, because I don't know, something about, because I start eating later. I'm not
yeah,
eating as early, so I don't have to have that mid-morning snack. But yeah, so I feel like your inflammation in your body can get better if you go plant-based, because you're eating a lot of, as long as you're eating the anti-inflammatory foods. But if you're eating Oreo cookies all the time and French fries with oil
right.
and just a very junk food, sodium, uh, processed diet, that's
Yeah.
different from eating plant-based whole foods, anti-inflammatory foods. You could really feel much better. And if your body's used to it like mine, might have to go up a notch,
Yeah.
more raw. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Um,
Now,
but yeah.
how long do you stay on the raw when you're trying to go up a notch before you go back to your plant base? Does it depend on what you're trying to cure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's been times where maybe I did have the flare up in my upper extremities, and I might have just did it for 2 weeks and then I was feeling better.
Okay.
Like when I was working regular jobs and I was on the computer all the time, even though I had that dictation, sometimes I would be lazy, because you can do commands to prevent from doing you could tell it to do certain things, but you got to know all the commands. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's just faster just to, so if I'm using the mouse too much, and then I have the flare up. But yeah, 2 weeks. But then there was something I healed in 2023. I did 44 days raw. It was something
Wow.
major, and I made a video about that in my healing playlist. It was something I was dealing with for 6 months, and it was really scary. I still don't know what it was, because I never went to the doctor, because I
Yeah.
didn't at that time. I was just like, I don't. They're just gonna give me some medicine and whatever. I want to
Mhm.
just try and heal it myself, and I did. I went raw for 44 days, and I healed it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then so it just depends.
Yeah.
If it's something like like I don't know, if I fall and my knee hurts or something like that, I might go raw if I'm having
Oh.
knee pain. Just giving
Yeah.
examples. But a
Yeah.
couple of weeks or so, 30 days, just depends on what it is. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, how do you handle family gatherings, or eating out, maybe travel? How do you balance that?
So traveling, so anywhere you go, 99% of the time, there's always something you can eat. Now, is it going to be fun and enjoyable? No. Like, not all the time. Like, if I go to a steakhouse with my husband, that's not fun for me.
Right.
Like, that's something, which we don't do all the time, but that would be something, like for his birthday, I took him to a steakhouse. But it wasn't about me. It was his birthday. So it was like, but certain places, you can always get like French fries and a salad. Is it? And most regular restaurants, or salad dressings are whack usually.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just deal with it, or maybe I'll just get some avocado and ask for some lemon, and then use that as a dressing. Smash the avocado and put the dressing. But like, it's not fun just going. I don't want French fries and a salad sometimes when I'm going
Right.
out and I'm out of town. So cultural restaurants are so much better for plant-based eaters, because
Mm.
they always have plant-based options.
Yeah.
Going to a Italian restaurant, you can have some pasta with veggies and marinara sauce. A Mexican restaurant, you can have a burrito bowl or a burrito with beans. guacamole, rice, lettuce, pico de gallo. You go
Yeah.
to a Japanese restaurant, you can have what do you call those rolls? Uh,
Sushi?
Veggie rolls
Veggie rolls. Yeah.
instead of the sushi California rolls, you can get the rolls with avocado and cucumber. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So when we go out to eat, we try to go to cultural restaurants. When we go out to eat out of town, we try to go to more cultural restaurants where I can find things that are more enjoyable.
Right.
As far as family, like if I go to my mom's house for a weekend, I always bring my food. I
Okay.
bring my food for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. If
Okay.
I'm going to my sister's house to watch my niece and nephew, I'll do that too. If I'm going to a barbecue, I might just eat before I go and then bring some snacks in case I get hungry again.
Right.
Because most of the time, these kind of places, if you go to a barbecue or some type of event, most of the time they're just not going to have what I want or what I can eat that's going to satiate me. Yeah. Oh, there's a fruit platter over there. I'm like, okay, that's great. I need something heavier. Like sometimes if I'm at home and I'm eating fruit for a meal, I could do that. But when I'm out and about, something about, I don't know what it is. When I'm out, I'm excited. My mind is going. I need heavier, satiating meals.
Right,
So people
right.
are like, there's a fruit platter over there. I'm like, okay, thank you. Can you have some beans or rice or something? you know, but no, those kind of places, I'll just eat before I go, bring a few snacks. Or I might bring fruit as a meal because that'll satiate me. I know some people are big on the sugar from fruit and all that, but yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do sometimes.
Right.
And I'm not gonna bust out beans or rice in my husband's gig if I go to a gig, beans or rice in there. Why? But I can sneak me some tangerines though. You know what I mean? I can sneak me some tangerines and some almonds. I can make it a meal. But yeah, that's just how I do. Some places I'll just eat before I go, or I'll
Right.
bring something with me, depending on the event, because there's some places it's a little embarrassing to bust out stuff,
You're right.
your own stuff, but then there's some places I don't mind doing it,
Right. Okay.
but that's pretty much how I do. And then
Okay.
like I went for my 50th birthday to LA last year and I didn't bring anything anywhere. We just went to restaurants, mostly vegan, because that's where I used to live there for 3 years. So I was going to all the restaurants that I used to go to all the time.
Uh-huh.
And they had a lot of vegan restaurants. It's always nice when you can go to vegan restaurants, but if you can't, cultural restaurants are going to be the next best thing. And
Okay.
if you can't do that, then you just get you some French fries and a salad at an American restaurant, or maybe they have some side veggies or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you find like when you get the French fries, are you worried that they're cooked maybe in an animal fat?
I don't even think about that. I just
Okay.
get it because I'm like, I'm
Okay.
hungry and sometimes I got to do what I got to do. But
Okay. So you're
sometimes I'll
not,
ask.
I would say you're not that real strict. Well, what is this cooked in?
I am, but sometimes I'm not if it's like I don't know. There's just some times where, for instance, if I'm at an event, right? Say like I didn't get to eat before I went, and I'm starving, and all they got is rice, but they said they put some butter in it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna starve. Am I
Okay.
gonna do that all the time? No. But
Right.
this particular instant, I'm starving, and
Right.
I don't see the butter, so I'm okay.
Okay.
It's not now. If it had meat in it, that's
Yeah.
different.
Right.
But if they're like, oh, we used some a little bit of butter, and I'm not gonna starve myself. I'm
Okay.
gonna make an exception for that day. But French fries, I don't like to do it all the time. But um, I never even asked, to be honest with you. Um, I just get it, and then I don't want to think about it if they do that. Now I don't want to have it anymore.
Right.
Now that you said it, it's in my mind. But yeah,
Okay. Now, I
I don't
just know
really
there
like
are
to
some people that, friends of mine that are very strict on, if it's cooked in an animal product, then they won't eat it at all. And I'm like, okay, I guess you'll just,
It depends.
they'll be hungry, but okay.
And it like I said, if it's like meat, I'm definitely not gonna
Right,
eat
right. No,
it.
it's
If it has
understandable.
some butter I can make an exception for that time if I'm starving and I'm feeling sick if I don't eat something quick,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really happen too often. Like I said, I usually eat before I go, or I'll bring stuff with me, so that I am prepared. You
Yeah.
know, there's times I might. Oh, there's been a few times where I will call Chipotle. I mean, not call Chipotle, but order DoorDash. Like I went to a birthday party, um, at this birthday party, and I just assumed that they were gonna. Oh, they did. They were gonna have vegan meals, but they were taking so long to serve the food that I was really hungry. And when I wait too long to eat, I start feeling sick. So
Okay.
I order DoorDash. I will order DoorDash. I've done it a few times, and get Chipotle. I'll get the beans and rice and guacamole and pico de gallo and call it a day. I've done
Yeah.
that about 3 times. So that's something also I can do if I'm somewhere and they don't have something, instead of eating their rice with butter. Maybe I could just order the Chipotle. I've done, I do what I
Yeah.
gotta do to
Yeah.
survive. Not
Yeah. So we already talked about what a day of eating looks like for you. So are there any specific foods or habits you swear by that you just,
any foods swear by now that I haven't.
yeah.
Like greens. Like when I was younger, or even when I started almost 15 years ago, I wasn't like just so gung ho about eating greens,
Oh,
and
okay.
just
Sound like
making
my husband.
sure, just making sure I'm really focused on whole foods and eating clean, not just about, oh, let me lose some, like after I healed, it was just, let me eat foods to make sure I'm losing weight. Let me count my calories, and not, just now it's about health. Now it's about health. It's about longevity. It's about feeling good in my body,
Right.
focusing primarily on the whole foods. But greens, like eating greens in my smoothies or making salads almost every single day. I swear by my greens. They're very, lots of nutrition and the minerals and vitamins. So that's something that back then I might not have been so gung ho about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want no doggone kale. you know, Now it's like, I don't know what it was like eating back then. I was eating a lot of potatoes and beans and rice, but I wasn't, so big on the raw foods and the high raw lifestyle back then. So
Yeah.
now I eat a lot more fruit and greens and salads and vegetables than I did before.
And like you said, especially as you get older, the mind shift changes. It's not necessarily about, oh, I want to look cute in this dress. I mean, that helps, but
Yeah,
it's more about, okay, especially going through menopause and just getting older and just having natural aches and pains that go along with the aging process. Hopefully we're starting to think about food in a more a way that's going to help us have a better longevity and also have a what is the quality of life versus, okay, I want to look cute in this outfit next week. So yeah, that has been my thinking process, that I'm more interested in, okay, how is this food going to help me have a better
yeah,
quality of life than, how I look, next month.
right,
So,
right.
yeah. Uh, so how has plant-based changed your relationship with your body? I mean, I know you already said that I'm assuming that you really never had any weight issues or anything of that nature, but even with, the menopause and just the overall quality of life, how has it helped you change your relationship with your body or how you care for yourself as you age?
Um, I think it's definitely made me more in tune with my body, and just like I see this way of eating as like a form of self-care. I'm very big on what I'm putting in my body. That's why I try to make sure I'm eating 80 to 90% whole foods, clean, things
Yeah.
that are born the way they are, not with all the extra ingredients, things that are just fresh from nature.
Right.
So it's like a form of self-care, not just something just to put in my mouth just to fill me up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
Um, it's given me a lot of respect for my body as I get older. I'm just learning to just really appreciate my body and
Yeah.
just treat it with respect and
That's a
just
great way.
really take care of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. and not just focus on, oh, let me make sure I don't eat too many calories and just
Yes.
and eat whatever I want as long as it's vegan. But now it's like, no, I want to eat foods to what's the saying? Eat to live. No, I want to eat. I want to eat to live and not live to eat. You
Right.
know, but it's definitely just made me more in tune and just really focusing on foods that are going to help me thrive and make me feel good and just help me heal and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give another woman in her 40s or 50s who are curious about going plant-based but don't know where to start?
So I made a video about this, and I always say that, or any age, it can apply to any age, but if you're in a desperate situation like I was, hey, there's always you can just start tomorrow, go
Right.
cold veggie. But if you're not in a desperate situation, it's okay to take your time
Mm-hmm.
and not rush. There's two ways you can go to a plant-based lifestyle. If you don't want to do it overnight, you can do process of elimination. So you can start off with eliminating like red meat and beef, maybe for 4 weeks to 6 weeks or however long you need to. Get
Mm-hmm.
used to not eating that,
Okay.
and just eat your chicken, your turkey, your fish, and your dairy, whatever, for however long you feel. And then when you feel like, okay, I got this now let's go to the next. Let's eliminate the fish, the turkey, and the chicken now,
Okay.
right? Now you do that for another 6 weeks or so. Get used to that.
Okay.
Just eating dairy and eggs and your veggies, right? And then after another however long you feel, cut out the dairy, and then next thing would be the eggs. You could do it like that, or you can do it as starting off with one vegan meal a day for
Mm.
however long you feel and eat the rest of your day as normal. And
Okay.
then after a while, you can add a second vegan meal,
Okay.
right? And then third. But you can do it. It's your world. So you could do it however long you feel you need. Whether
Right.
it be, oh, I'm gonna eat a vegan meal. Maybe you just need to do it for a week before you bring the second one in, or maybe you need 6 weeks. It's okay because you're in control and you can do what you want to do. There is
Right.
no contract. There's no one. Is You're doing it for yourself. So if you feel like you need to take your sweet little time, do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also want to say, if you want to go plant-based, don't just focus on trying to replace everything and try to mock everything, because you're defeating the purpose and you're not going to feel the best way you could feel if you're trying to go straight to all the vegan burgers and the
Gotcha.
fishless fishes and the chickenless chickens and the all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. It's like processed junk, and you're not going to
Yeah.
feel your best if you start off like that. I mean, if you really need to
Yeah.
do it, but I would say focus on the whole foods first, the
Yeah.
beans, the rice. The staples of a plant-based diet are beans, rice, quinoa, potatoes, sweet potatoes, nuts, seeds.
Okay.
Then you got your smoothies and your salads. Uh, did I say potatoes and sweet
Yeah.
potatoes?
Sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You did.
Fruits and vegetables also. Okay,
Right.
so those are your staples. There's
Okay.
different ways to make those things, changing it up, whether it be eating beans and rice and a vegetable on a plate, or getting a corn tortilla, putting some beans and rice and some lettuce in there with some salsa, make it a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more fun. You know what I
Right.
mean? So focus on whole foods. Let the process be very minimal,
Okay.
so you can feel your best at first, so you can really experience eating plant-based. And then
Yeah.
after you get used to that, then you can add a little fun stuff in there. But don't start off like that, because if you start off eating all the junk and the vegan junk food, vegan ice cream, vegan cookies and all that, you're gonna feel like doo doo. I mean, sorry, you're not gonna feel your best, because it's
Right.
still junk.
It's
Just
still
because
Jill.
something is vegan doesn't mean healthy. It just
Right.
means animal free.
Right.
Okay. So if you eat French fries and Oreo cookies every day, it's vegan, but is it healthy? No.
Right.
So focus on plant-based foods, whole foods, things that are born the way they are. Transition, take your time because there's no rush, and just do it the way you feel you can to
Yeah.
set yourself up for success. Yeah,
And
until
we
you're
do.
fully plant-based.
Yeah. And we do have to remember those things in the box. when they come in a box, that means they have been processed, to high heaven, and that includes the vegan stuff. So you're absolutely, like you said, the vegan meats and all that, while they're great while they're better than some other meat based products, that doesn't mean they're necessarily the best for your body. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
And
Yeah.
and again, I'm okay. Like for instance, I told you I do eat junk food 10 to 15%, but I'm saying someone who's starting off, I want them to really experience what it feels like to eat clean whole foods and how your
Yeah.
body can really transform and heal. If
Right.
you're starting, allow the little fun stuff to come later. But
Right.
my advice would be to start off with that so you could really get the whole experience.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What's something your body taught you after you went plant-based that you wish you had known in your 30s?
Um, I wish I'd known that food affects your inflammation and pain.
Yeah.
I did kind of find that out because I healed my body, but I still didn't quite understand what was happening. I just knew that eliminating animal products healed my body, but I didn't really understand that that stuff I was dealing with was inflammation, and it was caused because of the animal products and the things I was eating. Well, it was caused the injury, but the eating
Yeah.
the animal products and stuff was not helping. You know, so but it really does affect the inflammation. You know, and when you're focusing on high anti-inflammatory foods, how it can just really change everything in your body. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, and my body taught me that I'm able to heal and thrive when I give it the right nutrition. When I'm
Right.
able to eat the foods that I need to be eating, those fresh, clean foods, those greens, those vegetables, those beans and rice and the fruit. When I'm eating what I need to eat, my body is able to thrive and heal.
Right.
And now there's times in my years where I might have been eating some junk food on the junk food craze or, you know, and I feel it. I feel gross.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or just like even recently, eating extreme high fat. I wasn't eating junk food during those 7 days, but I was eating so much fat that it caused my body to inflame again, you
Right.
know? So I know that listening to your body is important. And I know that from now on, I can't eat that much fat. I can't eat 80 to 90 grams of fat. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, um, that's something that taught me like just inflammation is real.
Yeah.
And in order to help get rid of it, you need to be trying to put the right foods in your body and focusing on the anti-inflammatory foods, which
Right.
are most of the foods you eat in the plant-based diet. And I'm saying plant-based diet, not the vegan diet where you can eat anything that's animal-free, but the plant-based diet where you're focusing on foods that are from plants.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, how has going plant-based challenged your ideas of comfort, convenience, and even self-discipline?
um, let's see. So, before I went plant-based, it was all about convenience, right? I didn't I didn't I just thought about I need to eat. So I'm going to fast food places. I'm going to 7-Eleven. I'm grabbing all this junk food, these cheeseburgers and french fries because it's quick, it's easy, and it's fast, right? And that stuff wasn't giving me comfort. That stuff wasn't making me feel good. That stuff was not healthy for my heart. You know, it was basically, holding me back from being able to be my best self. Dang, I used to eat a lot of what do you call it? Fast food. When I'm thinking about it, it's just like wow, like Wendy's and Taco Bell and Jack in the Crack. I used to eat so much, but I had to really focus on what comfort meant. Not eating these things, but just really being able to experience feeling light and clean and just pain free by
Yeah.
eating the foods I know I should be eating. Once I started eating plant based, I was able to eat that way and feel that way and experience those things. And it was less about restriction, but more about like consistency, and intention.
Yeah.
So I I still think it's the best decision I made. And although I've been eating this way for almost 15 years, my body's used to it. It might not prevent certain things. I know that I could just go up a notch to heal whatever it is I need to heal
Right.
if I have something come up, for instance.
Right. And what about the
Yeah.
self-discipline? Because I mean, I know for you, you're saying you did it because you're trying to heal, but there still is a certain amount of self-discipline that you had to have to not only go on it, but also to stay on it.
Hmm.
Once you healed yourself, you could have said, okay, I'm going back to my other way of eating, but you decided no. So there is there amount of self-discipline. So how has that, challenged you in the
Yeah, I feel
beginning?
like
Not now.
yeah, I feel like self discipline. It's like you have to go back to your, I hate when people say this, but I'm about to say it. You have to go back to your why. No, no,
Yeah.
really though, you have to go
Yeah.
back to your why. Like, what was your reason for doing XYZ in the first place?
Right.
And know that if you go against that, then the results are not going to be what you want. So it's like, for myself at that time, I wanted healing, right? I healed my body, and my self discipline comes from thinking, okay, if I go back to eating that way, will those symptoms come back? And they probably will. And do I want to go through that again? No, I don't. So let me continue eating this way. On top of that, I was feeling good. And so it also helped me stay, disciplined because of the way I felt.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to what I was feeling before. So
Yeah.
that, sometimes self-discipline, you just have to go back to what was your reason for doing XYZ in the first place.
Right.
Like if somebody's on a weight loss journey and they're eating a certain way to lose the weight, the self-discipline, if they know that eating these things over here are going to make them gain it all back,
Yeah.
then you need to go back to, why did you start this in the first place? Do you want to gain it all back? No. Well, then don't eat all these things over here, because so you just go back to your why. What was your reason in the first place
Yeah.
to help you stick to whatever it is you're trying to stick to?
Right.
you know?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your relationship with aging has shifted now that you're more intentional about what you put in your body?
Yes. I used to think aging just meant declining, getting older. We're going to be getting all these aches and all these pains and stuff just because we're getting older.
Yeah.
But, eating plant-based and being intentional about what I'm putting in my body is basically showing me that aging doesn't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm only 50. There's some people, but there's some people who are 50 who might not feel as good as I feel because they're not taking care of their body. They're not
Yeah.
exercising. They're not eating the foods they're supposed to eat, but I see it as an opportunity to take care of myself so that I can age in a way that I should. I don't have to age in the way that we see certain people age. I don't have to, by putting, I'm not going to say I'm going to be youthful forever or whatever. I'm just saying that we don't have to be hurting all the time and just declining as we get older. We
Right.
can hopefully reverse that by the food. Now, food isn't everything. It's also what we're putting in our minds. It's also what we're inhaling in the air. And we can't
Yeah.
control everything,
Right.
but we can do our best to control what we can control, which is what we're putting in our mouth. So
Yeah.
I think that um now I forgot. Okay, what was the question? Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's my answer. I
Okay.
lost my thought. There was something I was going to say, but I forgot. But yeah, this is just an opportunity for me to take care of myself now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to go back to that one thing we were talking about the question about I forgot the exact question, but we were talking about how you feel after, eating plant-based versus you maybe eating, other ways. I know for me, and I'm not on a plant-based diet. I've tried it, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna try again because, one day I'm gonna get it right. But I'm gonna take your advice and try to remove one thing at a time,
Yeah.
and go in that direction. Because mine is all about cravings. But I also know that when I eat lighter, or I remove or I eat healthier, more fruits and vegetables and so forth, I do feel so much better. You do feel lighter. You do feel, for me, more energetic because I have horrible sleep patterns, but I do feel better. I have more energy. And if I could just take that each day, remember, okay, how did, like you said, your why. If I can remember that each day, maybe I would do better. But I'm going to try your advice and remove, one thing at a time. I'm not a beef eater, but fish is my biggest thing. I love the shrimp. I love all the seafood. Chicken, I like chicken, but I don't have to have it. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna try your recommendation and
Process of elimination.
process
Yeah.
of elimination. But yeah, I think once we get in the habit and realize how much better we feel and how it can heal our bodies by
Hmm.
changing what we eat. And we're not saying everybody's going to totally eliminate meat or animal products, I should say. But if you can eliminate some of them, you never know how much better you'll feel. And especially at our
Yeah.
age, we got to really focus on, instead of popping a pill, let's see how we can make ourselves better by just what we're eating, and how we're looking at life, and the mental side of it as well. So
Hmm.
that's very true about what you're putting in your body, and what you're thinking really has a huge
Hmm.
impact on how we age.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, is there any? Oh, that's what I was going to ask you at the end. Now, do you? I know you have a YouTube channel, and I will have that information in the description. But do you help people with transitioning to plant based, or do you have anything like that, or is it just all on your YouTube channel where you have your guests?
Um, it's not, the focus isn't about transitioning to a plant-based, but I just have a
Okay.
program. It's called shedding. It's 4 weeks shedding and shine, but it's a weight loss program.
Oh,
But
okay.
the weight loss program is a high raw meal plan. So it's four weeks, and there's like a meal plan and a shopping list for each week.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then I would do a once a week check-in call, or some people just buy the meal plan only, but it's
Okay.
high raw. So the whoever's buying it, they got to be okay with natural sugar and not be like, oh, I don't like to eat a lot of natural sugar. You know, be okay with high raw salads, bananas, and there's a few cooked meals. But yeah, so I just have a
Oh, okay.
program, or people purchase the meal plan only, but it's not so much like showing people how to transition, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
way of helping them transition because they're eating the meal plan. So they're kind of
Okay.
getting ideas and, shopping lists and how to shop for that. And yeah.
Okay. Anything on your YouTube that talks about the transitioning into, plant-based?
I mean, I have a few videos that are just on my YouTube channel. I don't even
Okay.
remember when I made them, so I can't
Okay.
even say like, um, and they're probably under my miscellaneous playlist, like how
Oh,
to transition.
okay.
Um, but I have made a few videos on it. The examples I gave you on how to transition, the two
Okay.
methods, I made a video about that. Yeah. And
So
then I
that
just
means
have a
folks
lot of
go check out
playlists.
her. I was gonna say that means you guys got to go check out her YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yes, check out my YouTube channel. I have lots of playlists, like what I eat in a day, high raw slash raw, what I eat in a day vegan for those days where it might not be so clean, and or it might be a lot more cooked foods, or it might maybe some junk food in there. I have raw challenges I've done, lots of raw playlists. I have a podcast as well, interviewing people who eat vegan and raw vegan. Um,
Okay.
all those. menopause playlist, weight loss playlist.
Yeah, so check it out. Like I said, her information will be in the description below. So, any last parting words before we head on out, my dear?
Just thank you so much for inviting me to be on your platform today. I always enjoy telling my story, and because I'm always interviewing people, so it's always nice to be interviewed. And I thank you for bringing me on. And anybody who's watching, I hope you are inspired. And if you want to transition, although I don't have a specific program or anything designated to do that, I should have said this. You asked me, do I have anything where I help you? It's like indirect because people inbox me all the time and I
Okay.
give them tips but it's not like a set thing where this is what I do. But people, feel free to inbox me on Instagram. I have a plant-based Instagram and then a regular lifestyle, but Instagram at plant-based Nicole R'Shae. You can send me an inbox. I can do my best to help you, guide you. I don't know everything. I just have experience, almost
Right.
15 years. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of tips I can give. But feel free to send me a question or two.
Will do. Well, thank you, Nicole R'Shae, for coming on. I appreciate you coming on and gracing us with your wisdom because 15 years, that's a lot of wisdom on being into this plant-based world. So thank you for coming on. You've given me some tips that I will try. I'll try again. I keep trying, so I'm gonna try again because it is about at this point in our lives about what how we can not only live longer but also live a more I always forget the word quality of life. That's the word I was
Oh,
looking for. More quality of life at this age. So thank you again. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you guys for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification. Check out Nicole R'Shae's YouTube channel and get an inbox her, DM her for a couple of tips, and check out her information on all platforms. And again, the information will be in the description below. So thank you again, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.